Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to be talking all about drugstore makeup. I have been testing out so many new products lately and I found myself very impressed by a couple products in particular. So I really wanted to bring them together in one video and talk about my 5 current must-have favorite drugstore makeup products. These aren't just products that I feel are good for the drugstore, they're just good. Period. I hope you guys are going to enjoy. Let me know your thoughts on all the products that I'm going to be mentioning today. And if you are loving anything in particular from the drugstore, leave your recommendations in the comments as well. And let's go right into it. So we're going to start off first with the product that is not really so new. It's been around for a while. I'm just a little bit late to the party, but at least I did join the party. It's the Milani Conceal and Perfect Under Eye Brightener. These guys were in my collection for a really long time. They were just kind of sitting there collecting dust. And then one day I took it out of my collection, tried it, and honestly fell in love. I am not an under eye brightener person. For me, I just sometimes find that under eye brighteners are kind of just an extra step that I don't need. And I've tried so many different under eye brighteners and there are a couple that I've enjoyed, but none that have really stood the test of time that I've like consistently gone back to time and time again that I really feel like have made the biggest difference in my under eye game. These guys do. They are really, really good. I want to show you how these work. So I'm actually gonna take off the concealer that I'm currently wearing. So I'm just gonna remove what I've got going on right now. So I've got 2 shades that I like, 01 Rose, which is the pinkier one, and 02 Melon, which is the melon one, obviously. I find the Rose one actually like brightens and makes my under eyes look lighter, and the melon one more so color corrects because it is an orangier shade, and that orange shade does a nice job of counteracting like the blue green underneath the eye. So you can actually use them together and you get a really nice effect. I don't, but you could. Today let's do Rose, and when I use this I use a very small amount and I kind of just tap it on the darkest part of my under eye, which is right over here. Right now I'm sitting in front of a very bright studio light, so do not be fooled by what you see. My skin definitely doesn't look as smooth as bright on camera as it does in person, and it does more dramatically make a difference in person, I will say that. For a color corrector, the texture of this is perfect. It is ultra thin, and once it's actually blended out, it's like it's not even there. You barely even feel it, you barely even see it. And that's what I'm looking for, because a color corrector is meant to be layered underneath a concealer. You're not really meant to use it on its own. You could if you want to. If it ends up giving you like the desired effect that you want and you don't feel like it looks too bright or the color looks too off, go for it. But typically you are meant to apply a concealer on top. And what I don't like about a lot of color correctors is that it just makes my under eyes look unnecessarily heavy. So when my under eyes look brighter and color corrected, it just looks like there's a lot of product under there, and I just don't want that. So the texture just is really ideal, and I think that's what makes these color correctors so great. I'm actually gonna take a little bit of the melon and just layer a little bit just so you guys can see what it looks like. I don't normally do this, but might as well since I'm doing a little demo. What's also really great about these is that they are not too pigmented, especially if you're color correcting just for everyday use and you don't want something that's like too crazy intense but you still want a little bit of color correction. This pigment level is great because it just isn't difficult to work with. After you blend it out, it's not like you have this crazy cast of color. I am really all about simplicity when it comes to my makeup, and if I'm going out of my way to add another product to my routine, I do want it to be easy to use but also effective, and I feel like this checks both of those boxes. While we're still on the topic of my under eyes, for number 4, this is the Physicians Formula Butter Glow Concealer. This is probably one of my absolute favorite hydrating concealers that I've tried from the drugstore. If you want a drugstore alternative to something like the Kosas Revealer Concealer or the Say Hydra Beam or even the new Tower 28 serum concealer, this is an amazing drugstore alternative. And honestly, not even just a drugstore alternative, it's just great on its own. Very similar to all those other concealers that I just mentioned. This is a very lightweight serum-like concealer that has a lot of hydration to it and a really beautiful glow. It's about a medium coverage concealer, but it looked very natural looking. The texture and the finish is my favorite thing when it comes to this product. It has some really good slip to it. Like, it really does feel serum-y, so it just glides on the skin and blends in so seamlessly and easily. I would very confidently put this in the same realm as the Kosas concealer and all those other hydrating concealers that I mentioned before. And the shade that I'm using is light to medium, which is a really great, more neutral undertone, and it works great for my skin tone. So now moving from my under eyes to my brows, number 3, we have the NYX the brow glue. Now, I've mentioned and raved about the NYX brow glue before, but this is the tinted version. and this one's a medium brown. If you want a brow gel that is intense, that will make your brow hair stay in place, and that will keep its hold throughout the day while not being too overly crunchy, this is the brow gel for you. My favorite higher end brow gels are the Kosas Air Brow and the Milk Lamination Brow Gel. They're both great. They have nice hold. They have a nice amount of color, but the hold isn't super intense. The hold on this guy is way more intense. And sometimes I do want a little bit of like a fluffier, more defined brow look, which this is going to give me way more than those brow gels. Let me show you, because right now I have nothing in my brows. So like I said, this is the shade medium brown, which is perfect for me because it is a warmer brown, and because my hair is like an auburn shade, I want to make sure that I'm still bringing warmth into my brows. The tint on this is really perfect, especially if you want something that's just gonna very lightly tint your brows. It's gonna very lightly fill them in, but it's not going to make them look too blocky or too intense. A lot of tinted brow gels can be just like way too intense, and they'll just make your brows look a little bit crazy, especially because it's not as easy to control a tinted brow gel as compared to like a brow pencil. I really like that this one is a little bit lighter on the pigmentation because it just gives me so much more control. Even though it does tint my brows, it still gives me a very light look. It really is the perfect brow gel. It has some of the best hold that I found in a brow gel, and it also has the perfect level of tint. What more can you want? That's all I gotta say about it. It's fantastic. Next at number 2, we've got eyeshadow palettes from NYX. These are the ultimate palettes. I have Warm Neutrals here and Paradise Shock. Before I even get into talking about this, I just wanted to tell you guys how much these were, because it shocked me. They're $33 Canadian. And I was a little bit concerned buying this because I just wasn't sure if it was actually gonna be worth the $33. Turns out they are fantastic, but I was just really surprised. There are a lot of palettes from Sephora that come close to $40. So this had to be really amazing to make it worth it. And thankfully, I was actually very, 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 very impressed by these eyeshadow palettes. They are probably some of the best eyeshadow palettes that I've tried from the drugstore. They really have everything that you want in an eyeshadow formula. They're all pigmented, they're all buttery, they all work really well. This one is the Warm Neutral palette, which is obviously a great like basic palette to have that works beautifully for every day. But the palette that really caught my eye, that actually got me feeling excited, is the Paradise Shock palette. Look at how gorgeous these colors are. These metallics are insane. This little lime green color, this coral, listen, I'm not really somebody who has like a ton of fun with my eyeshadow all the time, but having a palette like this that has these really beautiful color options and something that I do like to have in my collection, just in case, you know, the mood hits and I do want something a little bit brighter and a little bit more fun. It's nice to have a palette that kind of has everything that you need. What I like about this palette is that not only does it have these really fun, bright colors, but there are also some really great neutrals in here to balance it out. So you can just take this palette and complete a whole look. You don't necessarily have to like combine this with something else, which a lot of like brighter palettes are that way, which is fine, but it's kind of nice that this is an all-in-one palette. So while the Warm Neutrals palette is really great, you probably have something that looks very similar to this somewhere in your collection, whereas this one is a little bit more unique, not even just from the drugstore, but even from Sephora. It's not like this is a color story that you see absolutely everywhere. So let's have some fun with this one. I want to show you guys how this bright lime green one looks. So I'm first gonna grab this light brown in the corner. It's like a camel color, works great as a transition shade, and buff this above my lid. You can see right off the bat, gives nice amount of pigment. It's applying smoothly. I mean, it's a light brown color, so you would hope that it would. Even for a light camel color like this, you would be surprised with how many shitty ones I've tried. This bright lime color is the color that we're going to be putting on the lid. These bright lime shades are not the easiest to formulate. They are often super, super patchy. It's not the absolute best lime green eyeshadow that I've ever tried, don't get me wrong, but it does the trick. Also has some really, really light shimmer to it, which is really cute. Now I'm gonna take the dark brown color and just put that right on the outer corner of the eye. You see how intense that color is? And then I'm gonna blend it out. To kind of blend between the green and the dark brown, this is one of my favorite colors in the palette. It's like a burnt orange. I'm just gonna put that between the two. To add a little bit of shimmer, this green color is really beautiful. I haven't used this one yet or tried it. Should tap it on the lid. Oh my God, so pretty. The metallics really are very impressive in both of these palettes, and that just brings it all together. I'm actually gonna go into the Ultimate Warm Neutrals palette. These two actually complement each other really nicely, and I'm going to take the cream color right over here and just put that on the brow bone. And then I'm gonna take the whiter color in the corner over here and put that on the inner corner of my eye. So all in all, these are both really wonderful palettes, especially if you want to play with some color. Would highly recommend checking out this guy. Now I'm kind of cheating for number one because I am including 3 products, but 1 category, and that is the lip oils at the drugstore. The Lifter Gloss isn't technically considered a lip oil, so let's instead say these glossy, gorgeous products from the drugstore are my number 1 favorites right now. I have tried almost every single lip oil on the market at this point, and I can tell you very confidently that between all the lip oils that I've tried, there are very, very teeny tiny differences between them. And these guys from the drugstore are just as good as the Dior lip oils, as the Clarins lip oils, as the Merit lip oils. Granted, the formulas do differ slightly between each other, but quality wise and the way that they look on the lips and the way that they feel and all of that, they're all amazing. So I'm gonna go through each one by one. The Lifter Gloss from Maybelline is definitely not new at all. I've also spoken about the Lifter Glosses over and over and over again, but this is a new color that I had never tried before. When I saw it at the drugstore, I picked it up immediately because it really caught my eye. It's absolutely beautiful. It's this beautiful bright orange color. Because lip oils are so sheer, when they're as bright as this in the tube, they'll never translate as bright on the lips, and instead they'll just give like the most perfect hint of color. And especially when it's in like the orange or red family, I just always find that it gives like the juiciest, most gorgeous look to the lips. The shade is called 23 Sweetheart, and I have been wearing it throughout the video, but it's kind of faded as I've been talking, so I'm just gonna reapply it so you guys can get a good look of what it looks like. The Lifter glosses are some of my favorite glosses, period. They have a very like thick gel-like consistency, very similar to something like the Tower 28 Shine On Lip Jellies. Because they're so gel-like, they'll sit on top of the lips instead of like sinking into the lines, and so they'll just give such a plumped look to the lips. They're also not sticky at all, which is why they kind of feel like a lip oil. The other lip oil that I've been very impressed by is another NYX product. I just realized I have 3 NYX products in this video. NYX will just very often knock it out of the park, so I guess that's why they have 3 products in this video, completely unintentional. But this is the Fat Oil Lip Drip, and I have also spoken about this before, but I only had tried the clear version, so I knew that I really liked the formula because I had already tried it before, but I never tried the tinted version, and I mean, just as expected, absolutely beautiful. So this one is in the shade Mist Call, which is a really beautiful fuchsia color, and I love the way it translates on the lips. They also smell delicious. They have a really nice light fruity scent. It's really funny because I almost find that the Fat Oil feels more like a gloss than the Lifter Gloss, and the Lifter Gloss feels more like a lip oil when this is supposed to be the lip oil texture. And that's what the Fat Oil Lip Drip looks like. What a name. The last lip oil that I wanted to share with you guys is actually from Quo Beauty. This is the Shimmer Lip Oil, and it's in the shade Chocolate Eclair. This one's really pretty because it's more of like a nude color, and I love the shimmer in here too. I wouldn't say these are as like juicy and shiny as the other two, so if you want something that isn't quite as like intensely glossy, then I would go for something like this, but it still feels really, really nice and gives some great color and great shine. And that's it, guys. Those are the 5 drugstore lip products that I have been most impressed by lately. I hope you guys enjoyed. Again, let me know all of your thoughts on all the products that I mentioned today, and if you have any other products that you feel really impressed by, let me know in the comments. Give me your own reviews. Hit the thumbs up button if you did enjoy today's video, and subscribe if you want to see more videos like this, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.